everyone. So finally I've decided that I should be doing my Hoya update when it comes to the smallest and the medium-sized Hoyas I grew. Now you are looking at my Dishidia Jerry, which I have taken some of the bottom part of the vines and has initiated more growth from the top, and there are so many vines going towards that inside of the racks also, and I'm happy that it's like very easy to grow these Dishidia types. On the top you see my Hoya retusa, and then again Hoya Jerry, and then my Rotundiflora, and on the second level there's another Jerry which is white and green, that is what do you call that, Alba marginata, something like that. And then there are some which are recovering. On the third layer it's my Hoya Hushkiliana, Hoya Fichii, and the princess. Okay, this is the rack, how it is placed currently. This is my Ikea Omar, you guys know, which previously housed the Phalaenopsis, but now this is in 2 layers and they house the medium-sized Hoyas. You can also see that there are some hanging. Obviously I've taken down their trellises and they seem to be doing fine. I'll make a point there, but first let me show you the flowering Hoya memoria. It's dark yellow and red majority, but the petal has folded over to the back. Right now you will see footage of how it looked yesterday, because I actually covered the whole thing yesterday, but due to too much of noise all around me, I thought I'm not going to go ahead with this. But can you see how striking the white parts of the petal is? It's so beautiful, guys. I do not think I've witnessed it when I was doing the Hoya highlight either. So I'm really happy. This is a full panicle bloom or a peduncle bloom, and it's doing fine. If I show you the plant, it's still going strong and has greened up a bit also. If you saw my Hoya highlight on this, you see a lot of light yellow on this, and which is because of too much exposure to light, or in my case sun. This is my moon shadow. I love this, and I just took this off the trellis too. Before I get to the front of it, I have to show you how my densifolia is blooming. Okay, this top part of this vine is full of panicles, right? And I'll show you there. So a little bit less flowers than expected. However, this panicle, which has not opened up yet, has more buds than the one that is already opened. Can you see how many penicles I have? 1, 2, folding on to the other side, and 3, 4, like that. There are many all around this vine. There is an issue I want to discuss. I will cover that on another video. That is why this went bare and why these leaves became very thin. Okay, and why all of these threw out so many penicles. Can you see my Hoya pentaphlebia? This has like such a load of penicles I cannot even count. Right, so when I cover that totally on a separate video, I'll show you both the plants together. Right, I just took this pentaphlebia over here just to film these two together, but for few of my bigger specimens, this has been the situation currently. And now with the sunlight, can you see how my Tesselata's blooming? There are 3 spikes which have been flowering for so long. Now there's too much of sun exposure, there's too much of sun these days, so therefore they will, fall very quickly. But it has been a week since this has bloomed. And now let's get to the front of the track. Alright. So my Hoya quincunarvia is the elephant in the middle and it's blocking everything. But before I keep this on the ground, I need to tell you that since I've changed its positioning, this vine, which had a very vigorous growth habit, also started getting their leaves bigger. Okay, see, when I hold it, can you see how big they have become? So that's the first point I want to bring to you. Rather than giving you an update, there are special points which I'll be covering that you can take as tips when you change the positioning or change the growing conditions of your plant. In this case, the Hoyas, they will definitely change their way of growing too. Some will activate their peduncles, some will get their leaves bigger, some will start growing better if they are stagnant. Let me keep this down and I'll get to my second point. That relates to trellising, like we discussed. Right? So I took off this Hoya Fichii and this, which I am not sure about the name at the moment, and these two, all 3 of these Hoyas off their trellis. Right, there is some yellowing, just don't worry about that, those are normal. After doing so, what I can say is they started growing better, especially this Hoya. I'll put the name if I can find this on the top, but if not, guys, which means I have totally forgotten someone, please remind me. Once I took this off the trellis, it took off like nothing. So what's the normal belief? That is, if you do not trellis your plant, it might not throw leaves very close to each other. There might be gaps or they might not throw leaves at all. Example being this, right? vines being there like this. But not always. You can see that this started thriving once it started growing pendant, right? All of these Hoyas are doing good, okay? But if you are trying to trigger their growth habits or trigger them to bloom, you can try a different way also, because I know that if you are thinking about trying to get them to bloom, normally the common belief is the pinnacle of the Hoya has to be facing downwards, like my Hoya memoria here, right? When you are trellising, if by accident, if you trellis your vine upwards, there is a tendency the vine, or rather the pinnacle, would not be blooming, right? Some bloom, somewhat like this, but most of them, they bloom when they are pointing downwards. So that's another point which I have to remind you to be aware of, which direction your pinnacle is pointing if you are trying to trigger them to bloom. Okay, as I was talking, I was showing you around, and my glabra schlichter, the Hoya archiboldiana, Hoya deike, and all these others, they are doing very well. And even my again, the name evades me. Okay, it's been some time since I've did a video on Hoyas. You can clearly see that, right? These are 2 new leaves, but they are pointing down because while these were growing, this was, slanted with the net. Otherwise, they would be facing, upwards like this, right? This is recently repotted. You already saw the video. I restarted the whole plant and it's doing wonderful now. And here too, they are full with growth, but you can see even with the net, there is so much of heat inside this rack. So therefore, I will move away, guys, and I will individually show you how each one of my Hoyas are doing, including coverage on the largest specimens. They are currently being retrellised, so therefore I would not want to show you. They are not up to standard yet, and they are lying on the ground because they are huge. Most of them have been retrellised, but there's more to go. So I will cover them all, and also individually, like I said, in my Hoya highlights in the future. Until then, this is my current temporary layers of how I am growing my Hoyas until we move, right? So with all what's happening all around me in my personal life, I hope to keep on putting out these videos for you guys to watch and learn and get to know my observations and share our own knowledge with each other. Thank you guys for watching, and have a wonderful week. Bye bye.